We'll go ahead and get started. Brian, did you want
All right. How is everybody? Good. It's so great to see this many people in a room together. I'm so excited about it. So I gotta get on camera here, don't I?
Yeah.
All right.
There's the camera.
Hey everybody, virtual. How are y'all? All right. So welcome to the 21-day gut reset. I'm Brian. I'm the director of programming here at Synchronicity, and we're super excited about having this program.
I have the microphone.
And I'm super excited about. We've both been vaccinated.
We're both
That's the good
vaccinated.
news. And we're super excited about having this program and having you all go through it. Lauren's going to give you the information today, but I'm just going to go over a few high-level things. First, Synchronicity is all about recharging. It's all about letting your body heal. In a program like this 21-day gut reset helps your body to heal so it can do what it does best. So there's all these wonderful things that we do to torture our bodies, the wonderful processed foods and all these things that keep us from healing fully. And today you're going to be able to take and reset your gut so that you give yourself the best possibility of healing from the inside out. So we're super excited to take you through that. Now, having lost about 100 pounds myself, which started about 20 some years ago, I know that this is not an easy process, right? You're going to have cravings, you're going to have temptations, there's going to be patterns that come up that have been there forever. And I give you only one piece of advice, and that's that during all those temptations, all of that stuff that comes up, you can always focus on things that you're grateful for. If there's one thing that helps us get over those temptations, those things that are going to get in the way and tell you you can't do it, it's focusing on all the amazing things in your life, all the bits of things that we have to be thankful for. So when you come up against those things, look inside, look at the things that are wonderful in our lives. Look at the fact that vaccines are rolling out and life is getting closer to returning to normal. But there's so much for us to be thankful for. Try and use that as one of your strengths. And then the last thing is that no matter what, the cravings last what, 60 seconds, 90 seconds?
Yeah, they'll go away.
Right? But the accomplishment of completing this 21 days, that's yours to keep. That feeling of saying, I put my mind to this and I accomplished it, that's yours. The way that you feel that sense of accomplishment, you're going to take it with you forevermore. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Lauren, our fantastic dietitian, and I wish you all good luck. Rely on us. Come to us. We're here to motivate and help you.
Thank you, Brian. Well, welcome everyone. I, just speaking for myself and all of our team here at Synchronicity, we've been really excited to be able to offer this program again. We offered it in January of 2020, just a couple months before the pandemic started. And we had such great results with people. And just to serve as a testament to that, 10 of them are actually participating in this round of the gut reset. So I think that's, that says a lot. And if, you're on Zoom, just, you can raise your hand if you're doing it again for the second time. And then if you're here too. And so because the health of the gut far extends just the mere digestive process, the benefits that result that we heard from people were things like weight loss that just happened naturally, it sustained energy level, better mental clarity, and less reliance on anti-inflammatory medications, better recovery after exercise. So these were feelings that people had because they went through this reset. And another thing was just this embracing of all these different foods, new foods that we're going to be incorporating in this challenge. And I think that's really key because in order for a lifestyle to be sustainable, it has to be enjoyable, it has to have some flexibility, and it has to be fun. So really take the next 3 weeks just to serve as an self-experiment. See how good you just might be able to feel by just, staying away from certain foods that we're going to be keeping away from, just reducing that reliance on certain items and just seeing how good you can feel. So there are a lot of factors that influence the health of the gut, and we're going to focus on some foundational components. So it's the food we choose not to eat, it's the food we do eat. We're going to focus on eating within a time window, and there's some evidence for that in terms of just allowing the gut rest and helping with that restoration process. And then we're going to be engaging in a group chat accountability, and that really serves to help hold us all accountable and really be consistent, because in order for lifestyle changes to be sustainable, that consistency is really helpful. And so that's what we're going to really focus on. And we're going to go over more of the details and if, you know, at kind of towards the end. But I just want to provide just like a general overview of why is it important to have a healthy gut? What does that mean? What are some things that can cause imbalance, and what are some things that can really help the gut? All right, and I'll be asking questions, and I'd love for you to just, you know, share if you're here, just, you know, shout it out. If you're on Zoom, you can just unmute yourself and feel free to speak. We have a speaker here, so we should be able to hear you well. And any questions that you have throughout, you know, the presentation here today, just feel free to like write them down in your notepad. There's a note section at the end, at the last page of the packet, and you can also type them into the chat box if you're on Zoom. All right, so what is the gut? This is just so we're all on the same page with some terminology. The gut is essentially the gastrointestinal tract. It starts in our mouth, and then it's where food's digested, nutrients are absorbed, and it goes all the way down to our small intestine, large intestine, and our colon. And just to give you a size of this organ, the small intestine alone, if you were to lay it out, it would take up the size of a tennis court. So that's how large this organ is, and it plays so many functions in our body. It has so much influence. And if you think about it, you know, what we take in with the food we eat, with what we drink, how well we're hydrated, it's really the building blocks for all of these processes that happen in our body and for the health of all of our cells and how we feel, essentially. And so that's the gut. And then, so what's the gut microbiome? It's essentially all of the microbes that populate the gastrointestinal tract. So it's tiny bacteria, it's viruses, it's parasites. And we've learned just kind of in more recent years that the population of this microbial population has a lot of influence on our health overall. All right, so gut health has become more, I think, you know, kind of in the mainstream. What are some things that like you're aware of that the gut microbiome influences? Are there any things that, you know, you've heard? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Those microbes produce neurotransmitters that communicate directly to our brain. So yeah, it absolutely plays a role in like our mood, how well we feel. Anything else? Well, all of these here are just a few of the many like influences that the gut microbiome has. So digestion is one. So these tiny bacteria make a lot of enzymes that actually play a role in digesting and breaking down food. And it's only the bacteria that break down fiber and have utilization for that. And they produce these substances called short-chain fatty acids that play so many roles in our body, help with insulin signaling, help with feelings of satiety, help with our hormone levels, so many functions. And then metabolism. So having a healthy gut microbiome influences our weight and how well we're metabolizing food. And we know this from animal studies in obese mice that their microbiome is transferred into an otherwise healthy mouse. That otherwise healthy mouse becomes obese. So the microbiome has a big influence on our weight, our feelings of fullness, our sleep quality. 80% of the melatonin is actually made in the gut. 80 to 90% of serotonin is made in the gut. That plays a role in our mood. That plays a role in how well food goes through our digestive tract. It also plays a role in our bone density. Those tiny microbes also produce a lot of vitamins. They produce minerals, play a role in the absorption of nutrients. So there's so many functions and there's so many reasons to have a healthy gut microbiome. And so what we want to avoid is this imbalance. Have any of you heard, just by show of hands, the word dysbiosis? Yeah, so it's essentially it's an imbalance. There's more harmful bacteria than good, and this condition is associated with so many food allergies, food intolerances. It can impair heart health. Autoimmune conditions can result with this continual imbalance, and it can also over time lead to this um, term you might have heard, leaky gut. So it's intestinal permeability. So this tight wall that lines our digestive tract, it just starts opening up, and then that impairs nutrient absorption. It can trigger the immune system, lead to a lot of autoimmune conditions too. So there's a whole host of conditions, and a lot of that's in the packet too. But essentially, we're going to try and restore balance and prevent that imbalance. So a few things to know. The microbiome is not fixed. It is somewhat like a fingerprint. There are some things that we're just, the microbiome is, our gut microbiome is formed the minute we go through a mother's birth canal. And there's some things that are genetically predisposed, that we might be genetically predisposed to, but we have control over with the food that we eat, and the lifestyle that we live has a big influence. So it's not fixed. That intestinal lining can regenerate every 2 to 4 days, and you can see change in the microbes that populate your gut in just 24 hours. So that's really empowering. These are some diet and lifestyle factors that can contribute to that dysbiosis. So it's a lot of high salt, high nitrate foods. So these can contribute to things like colon cancer and influence our blood pressure rate. And they can cause damage in feeding the more harmful bacteria that can trigger inflammation. Highly processed diets are just full of preservatives. You can kind of consider preservatives as a way of like suppressing the good bacteria. So we're going to weed those out for the next 21 days. Sugar substitutes, and this is even like stevia and monk fruit extract, they're just intensely sweet. And when we take those in, it triggers sweet cravings. So we're just going to reset the palate with this next 21 days, weed them all out. Sugar will just be capped to a tablespoon a day or less. But excess sugar can really impair the lining of the gut too. And then alcohol is harmful for the gut health. It interferes with the whole digestive process, and it can contribute to that dysbiosis. Inactivity, so just know that movement is beneficial and getting outside is beneficial. Being in different environments is protective. And then repeated antibiotic exposure does end up reducing the amount of good bacteria and all bacteria in the gut. So if you've been on recent antibiotics, following this is even more important. And then fiberless diet. So fiber is essentially what feeds those tiny microbes, those bacteria. And if we're essentially kind of starving them, that's where that dissolving of the gut lining can happen as well. So what are we going to do? These are some ways to just restore that balance. There are some lifestyle factors, so getting outside and being in different environments again, stress management, so anything you can do to really, kind of manage that stress that we feel throughout, our day and our life. We're going to do time-restricted eating, so eating within a time window just to allow the gut proper rest from the digestive process. And these are some dietary things that are associated with restoring balance and really increasing the number of good bacteria in our digestive tract. So it's low protein, it's low animal protein especially. So we're going to be adding in a lot of plant proteins that's protective for really feeding those better bacteria. High plant diversity. Has anyone read Dr. B's Fiber Fueled book? One thing that he preaches about regularly is the diversity of plants in your diet. So really embracing different colors and variety on your plate. And I hope to arm you with tons of ways to do that regularly, meal templates, recipes. Fermented foods, that's a way to introduce some beneficial bacteria just directly into your gut. And then the fiber is what really feeds the bacteria and the good bacteria that's already in your gut. So eating 50 grams or more of fiber every day, and just the way this program's designed, like you're likely going to get there. And you don't start from 0 to 50. It's, you know, just adding it in slowly and allowing your gut to get used to that. But high polyphenols are protective, so these are found in your green vegetables, your purple produce. They're found in your very vibrantly colored fruits and vegetables. They're also found in some like tea and dark chocolate and cocoa. And then high omega-3s are protective too. So just in knowing all of these protective components, what we're going to do, we're going to focus on four things. And so these are the 4 things that you'll be tracking every day just to make sure you're consistent with it. So removal of foods that are associated with inflammation. We're going to add in diversity, add in those protective anti-inflammatory plant foods. We're going to allow the gut proper rest from digestion by eating within a time window. And then we're going to engaging in group accountability support. So just daily engagement with that. And we're in this together. Okay, so in your packet on page 9 is a whole list of what we're just going to avoid. So we're going to avoid refined carbohydrates. So these are things like enriched flours, white pasta, white rice. They're all kind of listed there. We're going to avoid highly processed foods. So these are foods that just have isolated ingredients in the ingredient list. And so when we switch to just whole foods, you don't have to worry about the ingredient list. We're just going to weed all those highly processed foods out. Excess sugar, so just capping it at 1 tablespoon a day, avoiding all the artificial sweeteners. We're going to avoid red meat for 3 weeks, avoiding processed meat and deli meat, and then dairy except for fermented dairy. So like things like yogurt or kefir, that fermentation process can make the dairy product more digestible. And it's a way to also introduce probiotics into your digestive tract. Otherwise, dairy itself, a lot of people do have some level of intolerance and just don't realize it, can result in like feelings of like bloating or like interfere with like our mental clarity, can manifest in like skin issues or conditions. So just weeding it out for 3 weeks and just seeing how you feel without it. But the fermented dairy is fine. And then this is everything that we're going to be including. So there's also a list on page 9, but then on the following page is like everything to really embrace. So it's just liberal amounts of all kinds of vegetables, different colors, all types of fruits, potatoes, beans, legumes, nuts and seeds, and whole grains. So the whole grains are going to provide the fiber and a lot of B vitamins and a lot of essential minerals that are otherwise stripped when the grains refine. So this is what we're just going to include liberally. And then animal proteins, just cap those at 1 meal a day. And just, whether it's the fermented dairy or eggs or poultry or wild-caught fish or sardines or oysters, just keep it at 1 meal a day. You don't necessarily have to include those. You can go entirely whole food plant-based, but you can include them in just like 1 meal a day. And we'll talk about how to too. And then these are the daily 7 things that we're going to aim for to include every single day. So 2 cups of greens, so it can be any type, it can be any green vegetable. So these are like adding these to your diet is so powerful for your health, and it provides a lot of anti-cancer properties, good fiber, a lot of hydration, so many benefits to these greens just in our diet. So what are some ways that you can think of like to add in these greens? Huh? Smoothies, yeah. Smoothies are a great way. You can just sneak in spinach or kale. Else? Big salad every day. Yeah. So in the packet, there's a salad template, and just like always having like a couple boxes of different types of like leafy greens in your refrigerator. You can just add your meal to that. You can easily sneak those items into smoothies, into soups, into really anything like you're sautéing. You can really kind of add those foods in. And again, putting your whole meal in a bed of greens is another way. Cup of purple produce. So, really kind of opening your eyes up to all the different types of purple fruits and vegetables. Does anyone here have like a favorite that they include regularly or online? Beets count, yeah. So anything red, purple, blackberries count. Blueberries, blackberries, blueberries, strawberries count, cherries. Purple potatoes count. Purple potatoes, purple cabbage. Purple cabbage has like 8 times more antioxidants, which are protective, than just your green cabbage. So, choosing those purple produce, you're really going to be providing a lot of protective components for your gut health and overall health. There's purple Brussels sprout, carrots. I heard the speaker. Yeah, so, finding ways to add those in. And then just a tablespoon of ground flax seeds. So, do you all use flaxseed regularly? So you can find it, most all grocery stores carry it. You can find it like in the cereal aisle or sometimes in the flour section. It's in various areas of the grocery store depending on what store you're in. So the ground, for ground flaxseed, your body's going to absorb more of the minerals, and the omega-3 fats will be more available. In the seed form, unless it's toasted, it works just more like fiber that kind of passes through. Yeah, like insoluble fiber. So when you grind it works more. It provides a lot more benefits, and you get a lot of those essential omega-3s. And you can find it ground. If you have like you can either like grind it like with a spice grinder, or you can throw it in like a coffee grinder. Yeah, that would work. That would work. But yeah, just grinding it, it's more absorbable. So just a tablespoon a day. And then just a half cup of beans. So any type of beans, chickpeas, lentils, black beans. Beans are so protective against like cancer. They're full of soluble fiber, and that's a way to introduce probiotics into your digestive tract. And the bacteria really use those probiotics to produce these short chain fatty acids that serve as energy for the cells that line our gastrointestinal tract. So many functions for those short chain fatty acids. So just a half of a cup every single day. So it can be on your salad, or you have a soup, or just a side dish of beans. And you can do dried beans or canned beans, whatever is most efficient for you and one that you're going to incorporate more regularly, I'd say. And then just a 4th teaspoon of ground turmeric. So this is one of the most studied spices. It has so many benefits in terms of like anti-inflammatory processes. It helps relieve joint pain, but in the gut, it can really play a role in gut health, and then that signaling to our brain. So a lot of ways to add in just ground turmeric, and then anything like with prebiotics or fermented foods or resistant starch. So they're all listed in your packet too to give you some ideas. But these are things like slightly greener bananas, or cooked and cooled potatoes, rice, or pasta adds more resistant starch into your meal. And then you can consider prebiotic foods anything with soluble fiber. So these would be things like oats, the beans, ground flax seeds. So a lot of these things kind of replicate. The goal is just to add them in, not in a certain quantity, just see them as kind of like a bonus. And then fermented foods are things like miso paste. You can add to like stir fries or sauces. Anything that you're kind of sauteing, you can add the miso paste to. This would be like sauerkraut, kimchi, or kombucha, or kefir. These are things that would be considered fermented. Anything pickled too. It's a way to introduce some favorable bacteria too. And then half of your body weight in ounces. So hydration is so important for food passing through the digestive tract. Being well hydrated is essential for the function of all of our organs, and the gut's no exception. So, how are ways that if hydration's a goal for you now, are there any strategies that you do that help you kind of make sure you drink enough water? Any things that you guys do?
I don't like to drink water, so instead of trying to carry a big water jug around, I'll put like 3 small ones in my car, and it seems like it's more doable.
If you carry it, yeah. Yeah. And is it less kind of intimidating, the smaller
Yes,
amount? Yeah.
easier to finish off.
Just chug it. Yeah, and staying hydrated throughout the day rather than just at one time of the day is important too.
I have found in the morning just chugging some water is like the easiest way to get it done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Start the day that way. Yeah. And that's a good rule of thumb, like starting the day with 1 to 2 cups of water. You can check those off the box. Anyone on Zoom have a way they stay hydrated?
Lauren, I find that having a cup with a straw helps.
Okay.
Straw seems to make it 10 times better.
Okay, I like that.
I like water.
Sarah mentioned she prefers having like a cup with a straw in it to kind of slurp it down faster. Oh yeah, the metal straws. Yeah, I find like always having it like close by, whether it's just on the desk or in the car, just always having it within reach. It's a reminder, and it's quick too. So hydration. So just take your body weight and divide it in half, and that's the number of ounces that on average, just that's on average like what you would need. All right.
Do you have recommendations? Is it for the turmeric kind of?
Yeah. These are just some ways that you can easily incorporate those 7 components at least every day. So one thing is to just like have a salad 1 meal a day, and then it's such an easy way to just throw in all these different types of plant foods. And then if you have like a good dressing, then that adds a lot of flavor. And one of the recipes in your packet is for a tahini Caesar dressing. I've made that so many times and just like kept it in the fridge, and then it's just a matter of like having these ingredients on hand, throwing them in a bowl together, and then just adding your flavoring, your dressing. I think like having some sauces and dressings on hand is always helpful. You can also like throw in fresh herbs or a squeeze of lemon juice or just balsamic vinegar, just ways to like add flavor. That's easy. And so always having a couple greens on hand. Try to, every time you go to the grocery store, get a few types of purple produce and like just keeping those on hand. One thing I'll just pick up is just like pre-roasted or steamed beets. You can find them at, most produce sections, just having them in the fridge, because in the morning it's just a matter of like throwing things in a to-go container, and then it's a salad to go. And you can just kind of to incorporate that variety, just change out the type of green that you're using every few days, or maybe it's once a week. Change out the type of purple that you're adding. Maybe it's purple sweet potatoes a few days, and then you're adding the beets in, or maybe you're adding berries onto your salad. And rotating in any kind of like beans, chickpeas, white beans, black beans. You can have a few like fermented like kind of garnishes on hand. could have a few like olives or pickled onions or sauerkraut, and just like to serve as like a flavoring and topping for that salad. So those are some ideas for like how to incorporate these regularly. And then a smoothie is another way. You can add in the greens, you can pack in the purple, you can add in a banana, and that serves as like the prebiotics, the resistant starch that's so good for your gut. This is an easy way to incorporate that ground flaxseed. And then and for some prebiotics, you can also throw in some rolled oats. And you wanted more of a bowl of oatmeal, just kind of change the ratio, have more oats, cook it, add the seeds in, and then top it with the fruit. So you can kind of change your ratios of these ingredients. And then these are some ways to incorporate turmeric. There's a golden milk oatmeal recipe that's in the packet. So it's delicious. It has a lot of different spices, including turmeric. So that's one option. I love this tea from Trader Joe's. It's just a ginger turmeric tea. And if you just have it every evening, or whenever it works in your day for the 21 days. And that's a way to get the turmeric in. Have the turmeric in your spice rack, and you can add it to curries or stir fries. You can sprinkle it on avocado toast. It's really versatile. And we also have an anti-inflammatory hot beverage that we've made several times here at Synchronicity. It's super comforting. It's loaded with good spices and just stuff that makes you feel good when you drink it. Anyone else have any ideas for turmeric?
No,
Yeah.
corn. Is corn something?
Corn's fine. Yeah, you can do corn. Yeah. Just really anything like plant-based, plant foods, whole plant foods, like fair game. And not to restrict any of those, just include them liberally. And it's really just the animal protein, just keeping those to one meal a day. And then avoiding the highly processed foods and on what's on the avoid list. All right, so that's about kind of what we're going to be eating, and then this time restricted eating. So eating within an 8 to 10 hour window every day shows a lot of benefits for when the gut's at rest and we're not eating and digesting. This is when repair processes happen, restoration happens, and it allows rest for the gut. It also helps us get in line with our circadian rhythm, which plays a role in how well we're sleeping, how we're functioning throughout the day. It plays a role in the health of all of our organs, essentially. And it's also just been shown to help increase lean body mass and reduce fat mass. So it's just one other component to the food that we're going to be eating. So does anyone eat within an 8 to 10 hour window now? Are there things that you found to really help you stay consistent with that? I'm curious.
Electrolyte water, like milk.
Okay. Just staying hydrated. Yeah. Uh-huh. Okay. Yeah. Perfect. What about?
Well, I just have to have it all clean before, just black coffee. I find that if I even accidentally eat something, off, if I'm making lunch or whatever, that it activates. I get hungry.
Then you get hungry. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So that planning, starting your day with, okay, when does this window work within my day? Do I have more free flexibility in the morning to, maybe take more time before I eat? Am I going to be eating with my family in the evening at a certain time? So kind of scaling your day that way. Does anyone on Zoom have strategies that they incorporate for time restricted eating? To share? If you do, feel free to you can unmute yourself. But I think planning is a big one, and it just make the window convenient for you and what's best for you. Know that, allowing at least 2 hours before bed can help with sleep and just, getting a good, restful sleep. So that's, one thing to consider. But 8 to 10 hour window. And then group engagement. So this is the fourth component that we're going to be doing every day, just to serve as accountability for each other, to cheer each other on. We're going to, because we have almost 40 people in this reset, we're going to break into 2 different groups. And so just make sure you download the WhatsApp app, and I'll send you an invite, and then you'll be part of the group chat. And we'll start that engagement tomorrow. But this really serves as a place for you to ask questions, share what you're doing, share recipes, things that you found that make this easier. And you know, especially if you've done it before, things that you found to really be helpful. All right. So the very back page in your packet is something you can just put on your refrigerator. It's just a reminder. These are kind of the 4 chunks of things that we're going to just be tracking every day. I'm going to send out like a individual journal that each of you will have, and it's just a matter of like for each day, yes, I did this, no, I didn't do this, yes, I did this. And if you do every component, all 4 components every day, then that's when you get full refund of your payment for this reset. So you know, just keeping this front and center, whether it's on your fridge or if you put it at your desk, wherever you're going to be able to kind of refer to it regularly. And then in the very back of the packet is a lot of meal templates, recipes. So the templates are to encourage like flexibility, variety, and your taste preference. And then the recipes are just to serve as something just easy to kind of follow verbatim. And then, you know, you can always tweak it along the way if you want to change out the type of potato or bean that's in the recipe. So it's just to arm you with a lot of tools. All right, so we'll get into questions, but you know, if you've done a challenge before, if you've done this reset before, I'd love to hear like things that you found to be really key to success. And if you're on Zoom, feel free to unmute yourself, or if there's anything you'd like to share. I see a few people. Michelle or Patricia?
Hello, Lauren.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
Hey, Lauren, I think that like I like to have a cup of warm herbal tea in the evening, just when I get a craving for something. It's decaffeinated and it allows me to, you know, have something to eat. Not eat, but it allows something that's comforting and relaxing, you know, obviously because I'm not eating.
Thank you.
Hey, Lauren. I just wanted to share that the easiest thing for me when I've done this in the past is to just do exactly what you said with the salad and just kind of set aside time like every single day. Hey, this is how I'm going to knock out 80% of what we're trying to do. You know, tackling all those greens and just doing it every day and committing to it. And then it's done and it's kind of set up for you. So that's really, really helped me in the past.
Awesome. Thank
Right.
you, Andrew. Anyone else?
What helped us, Mark and my husband and I both did was the WhatsApp group chat,
Uh-huh.
everyone taking pictures of their meals, because I felt like we were eating the same thing over and over, and so that gave us a little bit more, you know, creative meal planning.
Some ideas.
And it helped, and then we fast once a week after the first week was over, and that helped.
That kind of reset.
Yeah.
Great.
I don't know how you feel about the fasting.
Yeah, and that's, you know, that's optional. Last time we did the reset challenge, there was an optional daily fast, just a 24-hour fast. It's optional for you if you want to, you know, partake in that. It helps to really like recognize like true hunger and fullness, and it helps reduce this reliance on food to serve as like entertainment or whatever other purpose food might be serving. Just make sure you're well hydrated throughout that. You can drink like, you know, kind of broths or kind of like just fresher juices would be fine. Just cap your calories at 500 or less, but just drinking well throughout the day. So it's optional. But it really does, like I found when I did it reduced this reliance on food. And then it freed up a lot of time, but food's important, but it was just an interesting experiment. But definitely stick within the 8 to 10 hour time frame for eating, and see how good you feel with it, and just make it to where it fits in your schedule.
Should we be concerned about portion control?
No, I wouldn't. When you're eating these whole foods, they're full of nutrients, they're full of fiber, they're full of a lot of water, so it's another way to like stay hydrated. And your body you can just better rely on your hunger signals, your fullness signals. So I wouldn't worry about portions. Really, just sticking to whole foods, a lot of like the variety of plant foods, and then it just it's easier to just kind of trust your body that way, rather than when something's really condensed and packaged and processed. It's filled with a lot of just kind of excess stuff, and it's very dense.
I don't see any fats listed.
So it's nuts, seeds, avocados are fine. What?
Like cooking oil.
Yeah, you can add a little like olive oil, avocado oil. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Coconut oil. You can use coconut oil. You can use coconut oil.
I'm thinking more condiments like ketchup,
Uh-huh.
like to make a sauce to go with seafood, ketchup, that kind of thing.
So it's such a small thing. You can look for one that doesn't have like corn syrup added. There are some that have lower like sugar amounts. Just try to cap your sugar at so it's a tablespoon a day. So that's around like say 20 grams of sugar. Kind of cap it at that. But there are some alternatives that are like don't have the corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup in them.
I usually just do ketchup, lemon juice, and horseradish.
Okay.
Wondering about the ketchup.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about that, and you could up the ratio of like the lemon juice and the horseradish.
Okay.
So you mentioned avocado toast. So
Mhm.
I'm guessing we should be eating bread.
So bread is fine. There are a few bread suggestions in the packet. So like a sourdough bread, actually from like Butcher and Bee has a fantastic sourdough that they make in house, and it's slow they follow like the slow fermentation process. So it's a way to introduce some good probiotics. But you can find like a fresh sourdough in other bakeries or grocery stores. Dave's Killer Bread is a fine choice. Ezekiel bread. The sprouting of the grains helps make the grains kinder on the digestive tract. Minerals become more absorbable too. And then those are all whole grain sources. So yeah, the bread's fine. Just stay away from like the refined flours and rich flours. And if you have questions about like specific breads, like I'm happy to like, you can always snap a picture in the group chat and say like, is this okay? But otherwise, like those are like three kind of easy choices to find. Also in like the international section, there's some like German breads, rye bread, pumpernickel, that are great and super flavorful. Just they don't have any preservatives.
Are there certain pastas that are okay, or any pasta? Or...
Yeah, pastas, just whole grain pastas. You could do like whole grain pasta or like chickpea pasta or lentil pasta, brown rice, just avoiding like the highly refined pastas. But yeah, those are fine. Anyone on Zoom have any questions? Or
Hey, Lauren, can you hear me?
yes.
It's Kelly.
Hi,
Hey,
Kelly.
I'm sorry somebody might have already asked this, but I can't really hear the other questions being asked.
Oh, okay.
But what about like coffee or coffee creamers? Like what kinds of things would be okay there?
Yeah, so coffee is fine. We're not going to restrict caffeine. And as far as like creamers go, you could do like a coconut milk, you could do a like a soy milk, you could do an almond milk.
Okay.
Those are some alternatives. I find like a coconut and a soy milk are like really creamy.
And those like should not be flavored at all, even
Yeah, I
if
would
it's
say
a
no
natural flavor.
flavoring. Yeah, I
Okay.
would say no natural flavorings, just kind of sticking to like the milk or like the non-dairy milk.
Okay. Thank you, Lauren.
You're welcome. Yeah, so just keeping it to that tablespoon or less. Try to keep it to that tablespoon or less a day. But yeah, maple syrup, raw sugar, honey, just kind of capping it at the amount that you're using. But all those are fine. I know we're almost at like we've ran a little bit over. These are just like 3 things that I think can really help with success, like writing down why this is important to you and always reflecting on that. And really focusing on how you feel with the changes you're making and let that serve as a motivator. And then the group engagement. So really, engaging, asking questions, and, we'll be sharing like little snippets of videos and like things that just to make this easier. So this will be fun. 21 days, 3 weeks. And so, really taking note of how you feel now and, remembering that how you might feel 21 days.
Excuse me, I have one.
Uh-huh.
I'm assuming 0 alcohol, or is there any alcohol that would?
No alcohol. You can have kombucha. There's like a smidgen of alcohol in that.
Had to ask.
It's fermented. So like sparkling drinks with like a splash of lime juice or kombucha. And just see how good you feel, because that can really be a motivator. All right. Well, if anyone does have like individual questions, like I'm happy to answer them, and we'll get them. We'll start the group chats, and we can, start asking that way too. But 21 days officially starts tomorrow, and then I know it's Saturday, and then it will end on May 8th. Will be the last day. So, all right. Well, thank you all. And just look out for the invite. Say that again. Yeah.
Have to use, went out of my head, Irish butter, that's pure, and MCT oil.
So I would say
I
no.
nutritionist who recommended that, especially for fasting. And it helps through the day, but I'll stay away from it.
Yeah, I would say staying away from the butter, and just having like the coffee, and with just the 8 to 10 hour window, like
You do,